What's going on, guys? Today we are going to be setting up the enclosure for the baby albino sulcatas. Oh, by the way, I'm Hayden with State 48 Turtle and Tortoise, bringing you the best albino sulcata content, plus turtles and other tortoises. Today we're going to set up the albino sulcata enclosure for those two babies we got. If you didn't see that last video, go check it out. Two albino babies, two pet brothers and sisters. So if you want to take a peek at that, that would be awesome. Ignore the air conditioning unit, it can be a little noisy. I'll try to speak up so you guys can hear me okay, but I'm going to be following essentially the guide set out by Arizona Sulcata. They're one of the #1 sulcata breeders here in the United States, and they're here local, just down the street from me here in Mesa, someone I'm good friends with. I'm kind of going off their video, so we're going to go ahead and set that up, so credit to them for sure. I've utilized his tactics in raising baby sulcatas in the past, where they have grown quickly, they've grown smooth, and they're just gorgeous, healthy tortoises. So what we're going to do first is start with the substrate. First layer of substrate, we're going to be using Eco-Earth coconut fiber substrate. This stuff, you kind of want to soak it, get it a little bit moist, so that way it holds moisture. This stuff holds moisture extremely well, and humidity is key to making sure that your sulcatas have smooth shell growth. Oftentimes people think humidity is not important or needed for sulcatas, but when they burrow down, it's actually quite humid in the soils of the earth. So you're going to want to start with this. And then next, we've got the Reptibark. This is a great substrate for them. It's not going to cause them any health issues, and I should have just barely enough for my 40-gallon tank here to get the substrate put down. I'm going to walk you through everything I got, and then we're going to go from there. I have got some Wi-Fi smart plugs. I've actually never used these before, but supposedly you can set timers on them on your phone via the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. We're going to go ahead and give those a try. I've got a Sunglow 100-watt mercury vapor lamp. This provides UVB, which the tortoises need for essential growth. It also provides heat. I have a temperature and humidity control here to ensure that the temperature is appropriate. And this actually has an automated shutoff thing to where I can set the temperature on it and say I don't want it above 95 in the hot spot. If it reaches 95, it cuts all power until it drops below 95. So these are essential to having a no maintenance tortoise cage. Next, I've got some ceramic heat emitters in this box. They don't give off light, but they give off heat, and you need those for the nighttime to keep the tortoises warm. And lastly, we've got a dual lamp fixture. So we can have a CHE, the ceramic heat emitter, or we can also have a UVB bulb, the Sunglow bulb in there. I'm going to be rocking both of them. They've got their own wires. You can put them on separate timers and really have this thing set up to be automated. So I'm going to go ahead and start tearing into a couple things and getting the this enclosure set up for the tortoises. I'll walk you guys through it, but I'm going to go ahead and take care of a couple things real quick. It's a nice cloudy day here in Arizona, so I'm trying to cross my fingers that I beat the rain, but we sure would love the rain here in Arizona. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to toss you guys over to a time lapse that I took earlier, probably about an hour ago, half hour ago, building a base for the tank to go in my back room, my back storage room in my house. So I'm going to go ahead and throw you guys to that in 3, 2, 1.
On my timeline.
Alright, so we are ready to start setting up the enclosure. This cocoa fiber, oh geez, it can be a little bit dusty, so just heads up to that. You want a nice thick layer of this on the bottom of the enclosure. And again, we're just putting this on the bottom to hold the humidity. Some people mix it in with the Reptibark. I like to put it on the bottom, as suggested by Arizona Sulcata, to make sure the tortoises have plenty. I'm gonna have more than enough. More than I thought, guys. So that's good. I'll have enough for a change out. I'm gonna put a little bit more back in here in the bag because we do not need that deep of substrate. Because we're gonna be putting cryptobark on top. So probably shouldn't do that much for now. Nice thick coat. And what we're gonna do, level it out. And it kind of wants to naturally repel the water a little bit. I'm gonna add a little water in here. You don't want it damp, but enough to be holding moisture. And if I can get this all mixed in, I'll probably realistically fit more than that. But I can always hose this in, spray it down with a spray bottle, and do whatever is needed. A whole lot of water down here now. Mixed in. Trying to get this damp again. Like I said, this stuff that wants to float on top of the water, which is kind of weird. I think I could use a little more water. And again, guys, I can always add more water later, which is probably what I'll do. This is going to be a nice thick bed for this albino sulcatas. You really got to play with this stuff a little bit to get the moisture to go into it, but this is damp. It's not dripping wet. It's damp. It's going to hold moisture. And one thing I'll talk about here a little bit later in the video is rinse my hands, is moistening down the enclosure several times a day. That's going to be super important to ensuring that the tortoises have a nice humid place to be. But we want to put a nice thick layer of the reptibark on here. Close all this down a little bit later. There we go. We've got this substrate down. Guys, I built this from leftover scrap wood I have. It's going to be a nice shelter for them, and the reason I decided to go this route with the flat edge on it is if you buy one of those rounded wooden things from the pet store, tortoises can climb up the side of them, they can fall over. Again, reference to Arizona SULCATA's video. He basically cut a little side piece of this wood off, screws it to the side, and so that way the tortoises can't climb on top of it. I had this wood laying around. This is probably way too big. I may end up chopping it down, making it smaller, but this is something that the tortoises can hide under, feel comfortable, and be able to kind of just sleep in. We'll have our heated side over here, but that'll be a little bit later in the video. We'll get that set up, and then we've got a food dish that we are going to put here in the center of the enclosure. I'll probably end up making this smaller, just a heads up, guys, because it is way too big. So probably set that up in a different place. Get this kind of buried in soil ever so slightly. This gives the tortoises plenty of room to walk around. Cut the bark, put fiber. The next steps of setting up this enclosure, we're not going to put a water dish in it because I'm going to be still giving them daily soakings every single day. I just want them to have a food dish so that way they're not eating the cocoa fiber or the reptibark. So that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to go get this set up in the back room over there. And then what I'm going to do is move forward with setting up the rest of the enclosure. So kind of give you guys a quick peek. Again, this is a 40-gallon aquarium, terrarium, whatever you want to call it. It all is the same thing. It's got a little crack in it. This was my father-in-law used this to raise a couple baby sulcatas up, and now they are way too big and they're outside living their best lives. So he's let me borrow this, thankfully, so I don't have to go spend the money on one. But I want to give you guys a peek here. My winter lawn, as you can tell, is starting to peek through. They love this winter lawn. Has a lot of moisture to it. I just broke away the boards I had around this. I was growing this area out so that way they could have some fresh grass to munch on. One of the tortoises already went through there and devoured that whole area there, but this guy's just chowing down. Hopefully they don't eat it too low, or else I'm gonna have to replant, but the whole yard should be growing in soon enough. It's all peeking through. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the cage moved into the back room, and I'll see you guys there in a minute. All right, guys, I got everything moved. I got the tortoises mostly set up. A couple things I wasn't able to do, but I'm honestly really excited about it. So check this out. This is my back storage room in my house. We made this, got all my tools stored over there, but I made this out of a couple pallets I had laying around. Cut them to size. Got a couple, just storing all my extra junk down there for now, but I am super excited about this. Turned out perfect. We've got our cocoa fiber, Reptibark, a feeding tray, which I'm probably gonna change out. These guys are just too small to be able to make use of that right now, so I may put some sort of stone in here they can eat off of, but I cut the hide down a little bit so that way it wouldn't be quite as large, because obviously that is way too big. So I cut that down, and then also we got our UVB. I don't know if you can see that. We've got the UVB on this side, and we've got the CHE on the other side. I'm only running the UVB right now because it puts off some heat. I got my temperature setting right there. There it is. I'm gonna have to toy with it for a little. It shows it's 81 outside currently. I have it set to where if it gets to 88 degrees in the enclosure, it will turn off. You kind of need to play around with that, because if it's 88 right here in this part of the cage, sometimes it could be 90 over here, it could be 105. So you really got to play around with that. You want to use a laser thermometer, which I have one of those. I will show it to you guys probably as a wrap up to this video. Show you guys how to kind of play with that. But then you got the cool side of the enclosure. But a laser thermometer is crucial, making sure you got those right. But yeah, this is probably where we're gonna leave off for today. I've got a couple more things. I want to make a top to kind of hold in the humidity. I need to get my timers set up, but I need a splitter so that way I can plug the timers into the heat controller down there. But I just figured I might as well toss these guys in while I finish wrapping up the last couple pieces of this enclosure. I'm gonna grab some spray bottles so I can hose them down mist them down every day, several times a day, and then grab a splitter for the electrical cord, and then grab some sort of stone for them to eat off of. But that's gonna wrap it up for today. I am going to finish this project tomorrow. I'm gonna do a grocery store run tonight, so that's gonna be the end of the video today.